I looked at thousands of polls, your Ipsos, your Marquette University Law School, your New York Times, Siena College, your Quinnipiac, your Marist. You say it, you name it, I looked at it, looking for Trump's biggest midterm red flag, and folks, I think I've actually found it. Now, let me set the stage for you and how I found it. Why don't we just talk about Donald Trump's popularity right now? It has absolutely plummeted over the course of his second term. Trump's net approval rating, you go back to the beginning of his second term, look at this. He was on the plus side of the ledger, plus 6 points. When you can put it on your hands, you know that it means something. Plus 6 points on the positive side of the ledger. But look at how far down he has plummeted, right down into the Hudson River here in New York City. Look at this. He's 28 points underwater. That is a shift of over 30 points to the wrong, the red side of the ledger. And the question, of course, is why? What has happened? And I had a few different theories of the case, and I want to take you through them, and I dismissed them. What's the first theory of the case? Well, the Iran war, right? It's been going on for a number of months right now, and you can see that Trump is struggling on foreign policy. Trump's net approval rating on foreign policy. You go back to the beginning of his term, 1, 2 on the positive side of the ledger. Barely on the positive side, but hey, you'd rather be barely on the positive side than the negative side of the ledger. But look at where he's fallen to now. 24 points underwater in February of 2026, just before the Iran war started. And look at it now. It's even lower. It's a little bit lower, but it is lower. At 26 points underwater, nearly a 30-point shift against the President of the United States. So you might be saying to yourself, hey, this seems bad. Isn't this what's driving the negativity around Trump, dropping him to term 2 lows in terms of his overall approval rating? But then I went back through the history books, went back through my mind, and I remembered an election that was nearly 34 years ago. I can't believe it was that long ago. Remember this. Remember when President Bush, George H.W. Bush, for the youngsters out there was actually a President Bush before George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush's father, he won a war, for goodness sake. They won the first Gulf War against Iraq, and his foreign policy approval rating, his net approval rating, was on the positive side of the ledger. Look at this. Going into that 92 election, plus 17 points. They beloved him. He was beloved. He was loved on foreign policy by the American public. But what happened in that election? Well, Bill Clinton is what happened in that election. Bill Clinton beat George H.W. Bush by 6 points, despite the fact that George H.W. Bush won a war, for goodness sake. So I don't really think it's foreign policy. It's not the Iran war that's truly driving Trump to record lows. So then I had another thought process. What's another big part of his second term? Well, that is his incredibly hawkish, harsh views in his detractors' minds on immigration. And immigration has been an area in which used to be, again, a plus for him, but now has become a negative. Trump's net approval rating on immigration. He was plus 7 points. It was one of his best issues back at the beginning of his second term. But then he's red now. But here's the interesting thing. At the height of that Minneapolis, all those agents going, federal agents going into Minneapolis, he fell to a term 2 low at minus 17 points. But look at what's happened. Despite the fact that his overall approval rating continues to decline, his immigration approval has actually rebounded a little bit. It's now at minus 14 points. So when you look at this, you say, okay, his overall approval rating's falling, but his immigration approval rating is actually climbing a little bit. It's probably not that either. And then I had it. I had the moment where I go, oh, it's so simple. It's so simple. So Trump's biggest red flag, look at this. It was an issue on which he beat Kamala Harris by 7 points back in the 2024 election in terms of who is most trusted. And now, well, wait a minute. Minus XX points. Boy, this is quite the mystery for me. I think I need something to refresh me. Very nice. Warming me right back up. What is the biggest red flag? What is it? Folks, it's what I thought it was all along. It's so obvious, so simple. How did I not see it right from the start? It's inflation. Of course it's inflation. It's prices. It's the number one issue. Look at this. He went from being trusted more on the issue by 7 points by Kamala Harris. Now he's 51 points underwater. That is a nearly 60-point switcheroo. It's a mind-blowing switcheroo. The issue that got him elected, and now he's 51 points underwater. This is the biggest red flag by far for the President of the United States. And he's losing it even amongst his own base, and I think his own base. The 2024 Trump voters, they tell the story. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, Trump's net approval rating among his own 2024 voters. Look at this. On the border, he's at plus 76 points in terms of his net approval rating. Still very, very popular. On foreign policy, which we mentioned earlier on, he's still very, very popular at plus 50 points. But look at what's happened. This is his own voters. These are the people who voted for him back in 2024. He's now, get this, he's 4 points underward. He's on the negative side of the ledger on the issue that got him reelected back in 2024 amongst his own voters. His own voters. This, to me, is a huge, this is why I say it's the biggest red flag possible. Now, put it in a historic context. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, President's net approval on inflation. The 8 worst polls of all time, ever. George W. Bush, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter, who, of course, his presidency got eaten alive by inflation. But the 8 worst polls ever, they all belong to one man, Donald John Trump, the current occupant of the White House. They all belong to him, and they have all occurred in the last 2 months. This is the reason why Trump's approval rating is falling to term 2 lows. This is why. It's inflation. It is the biggest red flag by far. And more than that, look at this. Look at all the groups. Now, the font here is really, really small. But take a look at this. Trump's net approval rating on inflation. Fox tested this. Fox News tested this. It was negative. That is all the red in 44 out of 45, all but one group that Fox actually broke down. It was negative. This is all the red. Rural minus 43, independents minus 671, age 65 and older minus 35, Trump voters minus 4, under $50,000 income minus 58, suburban minus 54, women minus 55, men minus 47. All of these groups are negative. There is just one group which you might not be able to see. It's right here. It's right here. Look at this. In your green, I'm circling it in green, very conservative voters. That is the only group, and I know you can't see it, it's plus 16 points. Even amongst very conservative voters, where he is on the positive side of the ledger, a group that supported him overwhelmingly. This is the right of the right. He is just at plus 16 points on that issue. But overall, minus negative approval ratings on inflation in 44 out of 45 groups tested. Now, if you're a Republican in Congress, you should be running for the hills given this data. Why is that? Because if I'm looking at thousands of polls every single day, you know who's looking at millions upon millions of polls? Democratic operatives. And they're seeing in the private data what I'm seeing in the public data. That is the anger against the top of the top in our government. The President of the United States is funneling its way down ballot to Republicans at large. Take a look here. Trust which party more on inflation? Now, Democrats are more trusted by 8 points. What a switcheroo from the last midterm cycle in which Republicans were more trusted by, get this, 19 points. An over 20-point switch against Team Red towards Team Blue. And independents, get this, an even larger switcheroo, going from trusting Republicans more by 30 points to now trusting Democrats more by 20 points. My goodness gracious, we're talking about a 50-point switcheroo. And this Democratic lead for an election cycle is historic. Because again, I'm looking at thousands of polls every single day. The last time going into an election cycle, Democrats were more trusted in inflation. You have to go all the way back to 1900. There we go. And 78. My nines look a little weird, don't they? 1978. Democrats did pretty good that midterm cycle. But the next cycle, when the wave on inflation went against them, they lost their majority in the United States Senate, and Jimmy Carter got swept out of the White House. For this midterm cycle, why I say it's such a big red flag for Donald Trump and the Republican Party is because this is looking a whole heck of a lot more like the polling from 1978 when Democrats did well than it's looking like 1980 when Democrats did poorly. And it could sweep, just like it swept Jimmy Carter out of the White House, could sweep that Republican majority out of the U.S. House of Representatives and may sweep them out of the Senate majority as well. Folks, if you like what you heard in terms of Trump's biggest red flag for the midterm elections, leave a comment, make suggestions for a future video, and hey, we may just get to it next time around. Boom!